It was going very well, and now I'm suddenly very exasperated.
Par for the course.
Par for the course. So what is this? What par would Summoner's Rift be as a golf course?
That's a really good question. I had never thought of this before. I never needed to think about this before.
Par 5, easy.
Par 5,
But like, I suppose it depends which lane you're on. Maybe like
no.
par
It's
4.
got a par 15. That's the lowest score I've ever seen.
Is that when turret plates fall? That's when you get the ball. That's when the ball goes through the window and the turret plates are all broken.
That's the one. Yeah. See, I'm glad we're on the same wavelength then. So, should we talk about some League of Legends? That's what we got on the Rift.
No, I don't think we should.
Well, I'm going to anyway. Shame about that. Because rightfully, as the desk said, it's rough for Vanir. You have a bot lane which is almost untenable if they get rolling early. You're playing into a volley bear, which is likely to lock down a lot of your top side too. I think you potentially can play around your solo lanes as Vanir if they do well enough in the early lane. But even with that, you can actually see that Air has actually gone for the Ignite, feeling very, very confident in this matchup. So we'll be tracking that mid lane in particular because I think that's somewhere which Vanir need to succeed. And if Air is feeling confident, that might not spell good news for Vanir.
We've got a second as well. Remember, you can throw us some tweets with the hashtag NLChome or hashtag NLCPets. Got one here from JJ Hockey 23. What a banger first game. Indeed it was. And now it's time to continue the win streak.
Sour down some food. Now, is that a quesadilla?
Quesadilla, something like that. Either way, their wishes came very true because XL absolutely smashed that game.
Oh, it's huge. Absolutely huge, that game. Very rarely do we see teams put so many teams systematically to the sword like XL have been doing in our own NLC region up here in the Nordics, UK and Ireland. Now we have to watch how these lanes are playing out. I think that Vanir, if you end up losing a lot of these lanes early, this game becomes very, very difficult. So actually, we have to put a lot of attention onto how each of these individual areas of the map fare early on.
Thus far, Ericsson definitely on the worst end of these trains at the early shots.
That's not a good start.
Even with the dematerializers, and as an Ari main, I'm watching you wince here because I know you have a lot of thoughts on how Ari has to play particularly levels 1 through 4.
Yeah, so particularly with someone like Swain, he loves to play on the edge of their E range. If you're trading Charm for Never move, it actually gets really, really difficult because Swain is happy to trade that a lot of the time, especially at max range, because it's very hard to dodge the Never move as it kind of like clips onto minions and the rest of it really explodes onto the minion wave. So Aero taking some good trades, taking control of that lane. Most of the time, Ari is a champion that wants to take control of the lane early, and that's obviously not happening too easily in this game, and that really, really doesn't help.
No, it does not.
Serious accuracy from Aero, though.
Yeah, really good work. And like obviously with Swain coming very much more into the meta, hitting that Never move in lane, it's really good to see. It gives you that pressure you were just talking about.
So Ericsson is going to go for Dematerializers, has the teleport. So early laning phase, it doesn't have to be as disastrous as it could be. You can get that free reset. Actually, using the Dematerializer onto the melee minions, a lot of the time you use them onto the back creeps. If you use all 3 onto your ranged minions, you get to clear them. It used to be from level 7, actually. Now I think you actually need to get a couple of Dark Seal stacks if you're going to do the same, because if you're lacking that AP, and particularly when you go Corrupting Pot, you don't have that AP. It's not quite the same. But normally, it's onto those ranged creeps for quick pushing power, because you kill half the wave just very, very quickly. But because you've lost control of that lane, you no longer get to contest the bargain bucket, as we were calling it on Monday. Flipper walks in, that volley bear so annoying, so powerful to deal with early on. Flipper gets a advantage early.
Crayox fried chicken is in the inventory of Flipper now.
Oh, that's what the KF...
That's exactly what it says, see? I thought that was pretty good.
Also, maybe it's Crayox Flipper Confrontation. Maybe that's the acronym.
Crayox Flipper Confront. Genius. Actual, our brains are too big. It's true. Little note here as well for Hess0, who's actually managed to go home early and pick up an early cull. I think did go for a bit of a cheater recall to secure that. And obviously Ericsson did go through their corrupting pot very early, so has gone for that early recall into boots plus the seal.
Most junglers on bot side, we're maybe looking for a fast food fracas again as Crayox is hanging out in that brush.
Fabulous fortitude with your foolish, flippant.
Okay, those are words which I haven't heard of now. Now, every so often we do go through Sam's literary lessons on the NLC.
I'm not sure whether that was a bit of a mess up there, because I'm not sure whether I managed to get frippery and flippant combined. I'm not sure whether flippant's actually a word. It is now.
That's the thing. So this, for those of you that don't know this word. I learned this through you because this keeps happening with you. Neologism is the word which means to make a new word.
Yeah.
Learn it now because it's going to come up a lot when you listen to this guy.
Squibbledy.
What?
It's a neologism. I made one up right there. You asked me to.
We spent so long asking whether we could. Really should have asked whether we should.
How long did we spend? We spent about 10 seconds there, if that. That wasn't a lot of time.
10 seconds too much, some may say. So, okay, we have seen now mid-jungle. Not really working out for Vanir early on. As we said, you typically want to see Ori taking up that lane early, but I will give them some plus points on the other side, because that's a Darksail in inventory, and I love that item because it means that if you get one lucky fight, and you get a couple of stacks onto that, you can start building towards the book of all things, which I have a soft spot for. I think Magi is a very underbought snowball item, and in this kind of game, when you are looking towards those solo lanes for Vanir, solo lanes are going to have a lot of agency when you look at NYYRIKKI and how they have so much power even around that level 6 mark, which they're hitting now.
Indeed, they are. Flipper onto the Dragon early on. Is going to be spot up by the control wall that Crocs throws down to the back of the pit, but I don't know whether Vanir really want to contest this. Thinking about it, maybe, but moves away from that bush as Azador and Aero come out from their lanes to secure that early objective.
So that's early Dragon down. So what we have seen, though, in the current meta, and this is something which... for those that have watched the new LCK podcast, which came out, I think it's Monte Cristo and Wolf that were creating that one. Wolf had a really good take on the meta in terms of like the current meta. A lot of teams are very happy to give over a load of dragons to just fight for Elder, because the game doesn't end before Elder a lot nowadays.
Yes.
We've seen a lot of... oh, that is... Okay.
Ooh, flash for it. Now be a flash after, but there's still the Hextech ultimate after a Zero with no Mega Nard to speak of. Just going down for a solo kill. Banderas steals away with it, abandoned in broad daylight.
Oh, and this guy comes into the NYYRIKKI roster for this split and has been really something else. NYYRIKKI having that star playmaking on that top side has transformed this team into one which might actually be able to push towards playoffs. And how important would this win be towards that?
Especially after NYYRIKKI came away with an unfortunate loss on Monday to X7 on their current resurgence. They want to be able to continue to take this win, and if they do get this one, it's putting them in a pretty good position with things like playoffs becoming more and more of a possibility here. Coming out from the early weeks 4 and 4 makes sure you are in a position to start thinking about contesting for some of those.
I missed most of that. I was taking a healthy swig from my cornucopium because Vanir are going to need a heavy hit of it after that, because if you start falling behind in again, where we have kind of put that lens for Vanir, those solo lanes, if you start falling behind there, things get quite rough. If Nar can't hold their own on a side lane, if they don't have team fight impact, it's very, very rough. So NYYRIKKI on the other side of that, getting leads individually, that is such a big thing for them. NYYRIKKI feeling quite comfortable at this point.
They are indeed. They've got that gold, as you said. They've managed to get the pressure in, as you said. And
First Dragon looking for First Herald. Everything's turning up NYYRIKKI right now.
Yes, remember, Banderas will not have that ultimate. Hezero with the Mega Nard running out won't have that either. So both those top laners not really able to be all that impactful should there be a confrontation. But just looking at the minimap, Vanir want nothing to do with this Herald.
So they won't. We have the wee-woo-wee-woo.
Anyone who was watching LEC last week will have an idea what the wee-woos mean. It's mainly when volleyball presses Q, the whole crowd would just go wee-woo.
We really value crowd interaction here.
Yeah.
When the games get slow, you got to grasp at straws every so often. It's not quite that slow pace in this one. In terms of the kills, absolutely. But we have seen some aggressive look-ins from both teams at this point. Creox looking towards that top side, and on the Wukong, we have seen this champion do so much work in the current meta. Functions into pretty much everything you put him against, and if you get enough gold at that, I think this Wukong could also be something to watch for.
Yeah, he's gone in. Wait for it. There's a Mega Nard coming through. Creox is around. Volleyball will try and get through here as quick as possible. That will be a decent use of the Hextech ultimation, but Bandera still falls down. What can Flipper get done afterwards? He's getting stunned in place. Here comes Ericsson to try and make this one even worse, but the tower shot's starting to aggro onto Hezero, who still tanks it incredibly well. And Vanir punish Banderos exquisitely.
And what do we talk about? It's solo lane topside power. Creox has a huge helping hand, but having the Ahri turn up at the end of that play is huge. Get a stack on that Darksail. It's just the one, but it's something. Gold onto all 3 members between kills and assists, and NYYRIKKI, who were feeling fairly confident after this point, get preyed upon as Banderas and Flipper just not quite in the know as to where Vanir's top side were at, and they get punished accordingly.
Good stun afterwards with the wallop, and then there's Ericsson, and just really well managed tower aggro. There's nothing else to be done. The charm lands, and one dead volley bear.
Yep, and in that moment, you see Wukong's auto attack swinging, and my heart dies a little bit. Think, crap, could have been another stack on the Dark Seal. I'm a very selfish player at points.
I know that you've literally just commissioned an emote saying, buy the book.
Yes, buy it. It's a really good item. And there's one of them in inventory. That's the Lost Chapter.
Are you just a traveling salesman? Do you just say, like, here's cornucopiums as well, but also Magi Soul Stealers? Wow.
It has wares if you have gold.
You know, I didn't think we'd be hitting Skyrim references at this point in the day, but, you know, here we are.
Yeah, it's a new mod for the NLC. You can download it on your...
you can play Skyrim on the NLC version of Summoner's Rift.
They've released it for every other platform. They've released it for every other platform on the planet, so why not this one as well? Speaking of platforms to build off of, yeah, see, that's a segue. Vanir, though they did give up that one death, actually invading into topside, taking an entire jungle quadrant pretty much. This is really annoying to play against. You know, I have off-rolled this jungle enough to be just like, this is what happens when one side of your map just kind of falls out of control. It's been a little while since we've seen Camille take control of Gnar matchups in a very heavy-handed way, but that's a good start towards it.
Very much is. Wave crashing in on top side will be something as well. Herald summoned in the bot side that NYYRIKKI will use to gain more plates into Azator's pocket, who is kind of move. It's interesting to see him on something like the Lucian as well. Of course, last bit we knew him very much for the Jinx in particular.
Player, actually. You know, in my thoughts of spring from NLC this year, Azator was one of the defining players. He was our Aphelios player, realistically. This guy was incredible at that. To move on to Lucian, still be given those
arrows. Trying to trade out here, doing a very good job of gatekeeping on the Swain. Second dragon goes down, and NYYRIKKI gratefully secure. That gold is pretty even, but the objective count right now very much in NYYRIKKI's favor. It will be an Infernal Rift as that sweeps across our screen here. Banderas will reset. Blue buff still on their person, having stolen out the weight from Kraox's jungle.
Well, that's two dragons to NYYRIKKI, obviously very important. I actually wonder if the terrain becomes even more important in this game. I don't actually know exactly who it favors, because a lot of the time when you have mobility, being able to dash over walls means that something like Mountain Rift is very strong, Infernal Rift can be a bit weaker. But in this case, both teams like choke points. So losing some of those walls, particularly for Camille hook shots, for Gnar and Wukong to really mess up enemy teams. I actually think Infernal Rift has to change the way both of these teams approach their objectives. So let's keep an eye on that. We'll track that as it comes up to Dragon setups, see how these teams find their flanks, find their angles into fights.
Geography lesson here on Summoner's Rift. Some big epoch-changing, geological changes.
Global warming's really changed so much, the erosion taking place. Where have our walls gone?
Where have our walls?
Bring me back my walls!
Oh, well. The Summoner's Rift RNG says no.
I thought you were going to go longer than that.
I did, but I don't. What came to head probably wasn't appropriate, so I actually cut myself back. You have to think about what it was.
No,
how risque was I at that point?
No, it's. You know what? I'm not going down. You're going down a path I can't follow.
Well, I didn't start going down it. I deliberately stopped.
Yes, but you have painted the way open the door, and between that door, is, at least in this game, seems to be, for the moment, a little more topside action as both junglers have found their way up there. Flipper really not interacting much with the mid-jungle duo after that Raptor steal, but might have find an option to now.
Contesting over that, Scott comes in the bot side. Azator hopping forward, throws down the cleanse as well, but that does mean he will get rooted straight after with the last chapter. Won't take anything more aside from the Ignite afterwards, but that will be Ignite for cleanse and an ult popped as well, but Azator continue to hop forwards. Now that those ults are down, has got another option with the exhaust coming in afterwards. Tidal wave, blast forward, Azator can't quite secure it. All summoners popped by Vanir for both of Azator.
On the bot side. Flipper was spotted on vision, and that's why Merbs and Zaramba aren't going to head towards that tower, going to let it fall. And even though the kills don't happen, Azator Abagnale find enough out of it to take those plates. That's teleporting from
Whoa, Hessera just gets the kill. That's the price of going in so aggressively. And now with a Yuumi on top of his head, that is a dangerous animal duo. Aero has gone up into the heavens as a demonic god, but will not really be able to get too much more as the Demon Flare comes straight out afterwards. Another kill towards Vanir, but that's about it.
So, plates gone. Azator managed to take a lot of them, but the response is good. It's not going to be a cross map, but Kraox picks up the wave on top side at least to make sure that Vanderas isn't going to be stomping in to get more tower damage. Of course, plates have fallen, won't be able to get any of those, but NYYRIKKI they potentially get punished a little harder than they were thinking than they were going to at the start of that play.
Absolutely. Righty then. We are going to see a game that is still very close in that gold. And you're right, that punish did come through and did a very good job of that. And we're left with a game that, as was potentially on the cards in this sort of Scandinavian scramble, find a better name for it at some point, scuffle. Soiree, other words beginning with S.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, I've just thought of maybe the best piece of content we can have.
Oh boy.
Scandinavian Scrabble. We can have word contest between our all.
I have seen... That sounds
make it
both
happen.
Glorious and awful in
You really want to win social media clash? Get
That's
me a
it.
Scandinavian Scrabble.
Bring me Scandinavian Scrabble. Oh boy, okay.
Let's not count our scrabbled eggs before they hatch. Let's talk about the game.
Scrabbled eggs.
Let's focus back in on the game at hand, shall we?
I want to dwell on that pun, but I feel like I can't do that.
I won't. I'll let you do that in your own time. Enjoy it as you will.
Right. 45 seconds until the Infernal Dragon Spot. That will be so point for NYYRIKKI, who again are hunting for that 4th win here in the season. Vanir, though, pretty far down those standings, 2 and 5. They've had some games which will be very upset that they lost.
Yep.
But even so, it means they're only that 1 win ahead of the likes of M&M, who are going up against Singularity next and may well be likely, certainly favoured to win that, considering how strong they've looked in some of their losses still. They lose that, things like playoffs get pretty dicey. Things like relegation start looming in the back of your head as well.
So, Vanir moving into bot side jungle. Seeing what they did on top side, taking out some camps. This next dragon does feel to be like the next real pressure point. Ericsson actually has the Leandries. See how I can use it.
Hero does take a lot of damage, just pops straight away. Exercise is the demonic ascension.
Aero had no flash, didn't have any ability to join the rest of their team. And as we were saying, some item completions hit by Vanir. They popped their culls. They were ready to fight. And, well, I mean, Jinx has 5 stacks left on it, but Vanir very happy to take that one. Aero not joining this fight anymore.
Though, gonna get caught up, tries to flash away, but he's into that Hex Tech ultimatum. Bandera still falls, though, and now it's a 3v5, and Krayok survived.
Oh, gosh, and NYYRIKKI, they don't find a way to fight with the 5-man. They try and use that Camille to lock down a target, but the flash is still there. We saw this a little bit with the Vi, actually on Monday, that NYYRIKKI picked into X7, and that was actually into Vanir. It wasn't in this case, but you look at when you look into those picks, they flash away, they dash back, you're dragged way out of position. This is a fight in 2 parts though. As we said, Ericsson just had that item completion, gone for that Leandries torment, and yes, I will be talking about that after this replay. But having the item completion and just numbers on there, Vanir very happily pick up that. And after this is where NYYRIKKI, I think you just have to take the L. I think you just have to take it. Swain is so much of your power, and as we can see, that flash away brings the first target back into range of the Yumiel, back into range of the Charm, and when you get that, when you get the Merb Jinx popping off, you can't really stick around and fight after that point.
And the gold now, somewhat in Vanir's favor. They stop the Drake stacking, and it's still a relatively close game in terms of the gold, in terms of the structures and the like. But that kill score, some of the way these fights have been playing out, I've seen more Vanir favor than perhaps I was expecting, having seen the draft. I quite like what NYYRIKKI had, at least on paper.
Yes, I thought that they were doing pretty well, and I thought that maybe this Volibear pick could play through their lanes incredibly effectively, especially with Aero winning out on those early trades, but I feel like they haven't done enough with their early skirmishing and laning power. It hasn't really worked out the way they wanted to. See if they can skirmish themselves into a better position. The second Herald being started, close to being finished.
It's just going to be taken straight down. Ericsson's going to be there now, and maybe the fight will still come through anyways. Aero, no flash, walks the wrong way. Again, he got punished the last time on the other side, though. Ericsson absolutely deleted. Aero trying to heal up, but taken out by a Super Mega Death Rocket, and it's a mid laner for a mid laner.
Okay, so Banderas this time finds a split target. I think that Ericsson chose exactly the wrong place to be. Until you have a stopwatch, you are not getting out of that alive. If that Hextech Alternator was instead that stopwatch, you can cancel out that Camille ult as it's in the cast animation, and then maybe start flashing and ulting away. But you just want Fox on the side of that fight, and no amount of ability is going to get you out of that one. Trouble called that out on the desk, and Camille has forever been a good answer into the likes of your LeBlancs and your Aries, even if it's not a direct lane matchup. And going to go see, of course, how this happens again, because I feel like this is just fundamentally the wrong way to approach this fight. When you know that Camille can just do this, the ability to close that distance, really, really annoying. Of course, it still goes in that 1-for-1, so Aero kind of playing the rear guard, dies to secure the exit of the rest of the team.
Yeah, I wonder whether there would have been an option if we went the other way, but either way, the end result is still a 1-for-1. still ends up with NYYRIKKI with that held in inventory. You could probably use it somewhere like mid lane to secure that final turret, as Banderas can't quite defend this top lane tier 1.
I need to requisition some time there, Sam.
What do you need from me?
Well, I need you to nod and make affirmative sounds for like the next 30 seconds as I talk about. Hang on, that's not an Everfrost or anything else on the RE. That's Leandri's Torment.
Yeah.
Because in this patch, Everfrost's root was nerfed from 1.5 seconds to 1 second. Now, I think this has finally started to turn people off from this item just a little bit and thinking, oh, I still kind of want to be utility. Leandri's has ability haste as a passive. I know, it's crazy, right? We actually saw Lava over in the LCK picking the double burn build a little earlier today. That was sacrilegious. Please don't see that. I wasn't a big fan of it. We can see that Ericsson going towards this Leandri's. It gives you a bit more ability to play around lower cooldown, even though you don't have yourself another CDR item. But you need to be at the fights to use it, and Baron's being started.
Absolutely. I hope I made enough affirmative noises there as that Baron came through.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Baron down to 8,000 HP, but Kraox and Merps around on the other side, though. That is a Gnar caught in the cage, but actually managed to get out by popping the Camille over the wall with the blast cone.
Absolutely broken their ankles against the blast cone.
So clever.
To flip Banderas out of his own hold.
So
Ericsson doesn't even have to blow TP. Gets a full teleport, full tower, gets to shove another wave in, go into the enemy bot side jungle. Vanir, off of like one blast cone play, have actually gotten a really sizable win from that micro play.
Whoever else may be asked to be an MVP at some point, I need the blast cone to be in that selection. Extraordinary stuff. Right, checking in here again. 40 seconds until another Infernal Drake. It would still be sole point for NYYRIKKI if this can secure it. Vanir would even up the Drake score at 2-2 if they got it themselves. Now at 22 minutes in, as we've seen, Baron definitely on the cards for both teams potentially as well. But right now it's NYYRIKKI setting up around that bot side river to continue their dragon stacking if they can.
What cards would Baron be on? Would it be MTG? Would it be Yu-Gi-Oh? What are you feeling?
Probably both. Let's be real.
I'd say, kind of Cthulhu mythos-y stuff. Definitely got some heebie-jeebies there. Vanir needs to be feeling some heebie-jeebies as they've lost vision control in this river, though. See if they can break through this bulwark that NYYRIKKI are trying to put up.
Zero gonna go mega now, and that means he's gonna be looking to find the engage while that bar still stands into the river. Vanir, go. On the side is Aero. Ankle pressing goes wide, but a flash cyclone with a little bit of a Nimbus strike on top means these clouds pour down on the backline of NYYRIKKI, but right now they've actually all survived. So does Kraox though, but they've popped the engage. They've used that tool while Zoomies will be able to heal Kraox back up. They are down now some critical ultimates. In goes Aero with the ult. Monica Session takes right alive as Banderas into the backside with a hook shot. Still there, shut down onto Merbs. Who with the flash will not be able to get out alive. Now Flipper hopping forward with a thundering smash, can't quite get in range. Ericsson gets the charm as it all went forward and was quickly punished. Now they're going back towards the dragon, which is still not being taken to 4v4. Kraox gets rooted with the never move. Flipper trying to stay alive. A sky splitter will hit him with even more Banderas on the side, looking for some more angles. Over the wall goes Kraox. Now he knows where the top laner is. Look at Ericsson on the top side of your screen as well. But right now, the rest of Vanir continuing to haunt, to haggle, to harass NYYRIKKI as they try to get out of this bot side lane. They lose another, and Abagnale and his jungler left to the monkeys, not the wolves. The fish survives, but it comes at a cost.
Monkey see, monkey bonk, rocket.
It's a sign.
Observers, I'm telling this directly to you, that is a massive bait. Couldn't not to be Merbed on this time. Although that Jinx, of course, was one of the first casualties of this fight. Really slick pick from NYYRIKKI onto first start of this. This was such a messy fight. Heck, I even remember this being after a lot of the ults had already gone down at the first part. This is a fight in multiple parts, and see flashes traded back and forwards, and of course, Charm eventually comes into Aztoid, dashes forward, has the cleanse, but the damage is already done. That's the thing. You can cleanse the CC, can't cleanse death. That damage comes through, and it's going to stick around. And then this was basically an extended wait. They have a Yuumi at this point. That move speed is so incredibly useful. You've got a lot of gap closes, and even with your consistent damage from Leandri's burns and Swain doing decent work, it's just not enough to deal with the Yuumi at this point.
And this Swain has felt a little bit anemic in this game. All things said and done. Caught out a couple times. Doesn't quite the damage. And Abagnale and Flipper just about escape. But Vanir more and more feel like they are the ones coming out on top in these extended skirmishes and fights.
So, back we are to this mid lane, place where it has started over that priority so much. We've seen Vanir picking off whoever they can when they are around this lane. But, of course, when you have a Camille, when you've got Lucian jumping forward, you can't really be caught out from Vanir either. I'm looking at this vision now. Look at these pink wards actually behind NYYRIKKI's lines. They're not allowing any of these teleports from something like a Gnar to come in. And we are still stuck in this lane. That Baron up and available. That priority becomes so important.
Tense stuff right now, edge of your seat. And we'll see now whether Kraos can make it work. Hester's over the wall with a Mega Gnar coming. Needs to try and get it. Only gets Flipper, but that might be all they need. On the other side, Aero once again split off from his team, while Banderas was split pushing away in the bot side, but with a jungler and mid laner dead, it's Baron time for Vanir.
And for all those pink wards stopping those teleport flights, well, yeah, there's a ward in the Raptor Pit. That's why they end up going towards. Hesero having an incredible game on this Gnar, returning back to the NLC after time away, and Vanir looking to pick up the third win, looking to push NYYRIKKI onto level, standing with them. Baron's on the table.
Trying to play for best they can. There is still no spite, so this would be just a straight contest. And they just decide there's no way to make it happen. The health bars are too high, there is no smite, and they just have to leave it as is. Bandera's got a bot lane tier 2. That is the one consolation prize, and it's a miserable one.
Didn't know that MasterCard had the power to tell the future. Came in a couple of seconds before the Baron came down. Gave me a real fright, thinking, heck, that's really quick. How do they burst it from that HP? But Andres, as you were speaking, yeah, didn't really get involved in that fight. Was stuck on that side lane. NYYRIKKI were, for all intents and purposes, trying to play around the defense. But that damn ward over the Raptor Pit is their undoing. Hesero, really sick Gnar play this game. Yeah, died once in that laning phase. Almost died a couple of times through the Camille's all-ins, but in these team fights, whether it's been on the side or been the initiator, I've really been impressed by this Gnar play.
2 minutes now on the Baron to continue to put the screws onto NYYRIKKI. Flipper being jumped on, but doesn't mind the thundering smash away. 40 seconds until what could be still an Infernal Soul for NYYRIKKI, but Vanir are just not allowing any ingress into NYYRIKKI's blue side jungle.
So, now actually NYYRIKKI have one last ward to play around, but they still don't have a teleport to work with it in that red side jungle of Vanir, opposite side of that map, which Vanir, of course, are defending so heavily on the enemy side territory. Look at all that vision. You're absolutely right. No ingress allowed. And Aero.
Oh, that's an unfortunate catch. It's been a rough game for the mid laner of NYYRIKKI. 0-5-1. It has been paltry for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in this game. And he has been well and truly fried.
Ericsson really seeing the opportunity. Sees them walk up, even with that flash. Not able to escape, goes uncast even throughout this. So that's going to be inhibited down for Vanir. That mid priority, which was being fought over so much, now completely in favor of that team on the blue side. You know what? I'm starting to think that cornucopian's done its work.
It's done pretty well. Done pretty well.
Oh, ye of little magical power.
Yeah, well, the rest of us all feeling a little bit dull as Alex and his glorious horn of copium. I refuse to say the proper name. I refuse. At least for now. Give me this. Banderas will do his very best to continue to find some responses for NYYRIKKI in the side lane, but it's feeling harder and harder now, especially with that inhibitor down in the mid lane, to make that a consistent probability or possibility.
So, Vanir currently on their own side of the map. They've used those resets. They've got some item completion. Zonya's coming in from Ari. That's, of course, big itemization in terms of the utility into the Camille ult, which is one of the biggest threats on the enemy team. I actually think that Zonya's is typically pretty low damage item for a lot of mages, and I have to see if Ericsson has to use it. Level 16s, can he cancel it? What's he going to do with this?
Does get the charm, but that does now mean that the ult's available for Banderas hasn't been used. Spirit Rush now used for Ericsson as the rest of Vanir coming to haunt Banderas, hunt him down. He is the prey now, despite trying to jump on Fox. Gonna try and get under this tower and find a way out. I just don't think there's anywhere to go. Flash Charm goes wide, and Banderas actually managing to take everybody off the Baron. Well, actually, weren't even on the Baron, they're just in the Baron pit, and Banderas, is he going for a Fountain Execute?
I mean, I don't know what he's looking
Where's
to do.
he going?
There's a dead man's on die. He's gonna run him down. Banderas just gonna take the heal and get a chance to die.
He's just keeping going. I don't know whether he's even going to die at this point. He does a lot of damage back. Mega Gnar's coming through. Trade out pretty well, can't quite make it happen.
Death Dance ends up burning through. I was thinking, heck, actually dodging the boomerang made things a little close. I can see the angle. It looks a little bit troll going, oh, he's cast his ult. I think if you forget about the Death Dance spell, you think, maybe I dodge the boomerang, one more auto reset with the Q2. Gets damn close with Camille in that late game, but nope. Gonna be Hestero picking up the rewards for Vanir's punishments onto the top laner of NYYRIKKI. Game's slowed down a little bit. It's been less about that mid lane now. I think that NYYRIKKI have kind of just given up the ghost in that mid lane and said, look, we have lost this at this point. Getting that mid pro is not something we can force towards, but it means you lose jungle control. See that on your screen right now. And Vanir very, very happy to just move around in force, take control of various areas of the map. NYYRIKKI just have to sit and respond.
I think our eyes probably have to turn to the Baron spawning in a minute and a half, and the Dragon spawning a minute after that. NYYRIKKI have invested in triple stopwatch. Banderas did have that during that last play, decided against using it, but that will be a big set of items that NYYRIKKI is saying it's now or never. We need to try and make the most out of these incoming skirmishes and try and hold on to this tier 2 best they can. Ericsson looking for another angle.
Look, observers, we've talked about this. You don't just randomly zoom in like that. It is really cruel at us.
They're doing it deliberately now, you know that, right?
Whoa!
You've made it, you don't... It's always a mistake to antagonize the observers. They will continue to bait you now.
Yeah, it's always a little bit awkward. It's like whenever you annoy your producer,
he knows not what he's done.
They have complete control of what's shown on screen. They can do whatever they want.
This is where they end up picking up Pet and going, what is going on?
Well, that's what NYYRIKKI are. Yeah, what is going on?
What is
NYYRIKKI? Vanir is in the side lane, not even pushing out of his own base at this point. NYYRIKKI would...
Can they add sound effect? Oh
my God. Okay, you're gonna say, is this a wildlife tour now?
The wild scuttle crab in its natural environment, hiding away from the enemy junglers as it wanders down the river. How extraordinary.
Cool.
What was that?
Was Sam Attenborough, I guess. Yeah, taking on a different family name for this one. Creox. Oh, going in.
Never mind any more baiting. Never mind any more river tours. It's just a dead Azitor taken out in the mid lane after he was teleported on behind. And now it's time to run in with the minions. A charm in onto Banderas, who goes away, is resurrecting. But I think he's only going to come back to go straight up to heaven. It is the Rapture, and NYYRIKKI are being sent away from the mortal plane, courtesy of Vanir, who bought them all one-way tickets.
NYYRIKKI, they fought hard, they had a decent early game, it's just about to be bleached out for them.
Nothing left to be done. Merv's rocket goes wide, but NYYRIKKI just out of tools to work with. They're waiting on another minion wave, and maybe Aero, even with a demonic flare, not really able to do much to clear the wave or clear the health bars. Jason Chum on a flipper, he goes golden, but actually, they're not managed to get as much done with this as I was hoping, as Azitor has now respawned, but he's hitting the clone with his culling, and Merbs is trading back even harder than Azitor was with the culling. They'll play it tutorial style, they'll get another turret into another inhibitor to gather in and escort this minion wave up to the Nexus towers. This should be it.
Vanir hunting for that third victory, pulling themselves level with NYYRIKKI, making sure this racing group in the bottom of the standings towards this place gets even closer.
Double for Merbs to end it all, and Vanir will tie up with their nearest rivals in NYYRIKKI, moving away from the likes of M&M and Singularity to tie at 3 and 5.